ridernews.com. Riders' 2025 baseball team was historically good. It clinched its first Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference regular season title in 10 years off a walk-off 3-run home run. The team also held the MAC Player, Reliever, Pitcher, and Coach of the Year. With there being 12 seniors on the roster who have spent all 4 years at Rider, their knowledge and experience trickle down to the freshmen who are starting their collegiate baseball career. The Broncs are not strangers to bringing in some talent via the transfer portal, and this year they have brought in 4 new transfers. Much like the starting lineup for the Broncs, most of the starting rotation and parts of the bullpen will be returning also. Seniors PJ Craig and Clayton Coyley will once again take a bulk of the starts for the Broncs, while younger arms hope to eat some innings as well. Read more about the 2026 baseball team in Benjamin Chenault's story on ridernews.com. All of this week's content can be found on our website, and be sure to stay updated by following the Rider News on all of your social media platforms. I'm Samantha Clark, and this has been your Rider News Roundup.
That's all the headlines for this week's Rider News Roundup. But don't worry, we've got you covered every Wednesday with a brand new report to keep you in the know. Catch up on all the stories anytime at theridernews.com and listen to every roundup on demand at 1077thebronc.com/Rider News Roundup. Because when it comes to what's happening at Rider, you'll always hear it here first. And now, let's get back to the biggest hits and the best variety only on 1077 The Bronc.
1077 The Bronc and 1077thebronc.com nominated for 8 Intercollegiate Broadcasting Systems Media Awards, including Best On-Air Pledge Drive for our first ever radiothon and Best College Radio Station in the nation. Listen to Wake Up Rider every morning at 8 a.m. on 1077 The Bronc to find out if our team of student broadcasters brings home the gold this weekend. I apologize, that is Monday morning, not every morning. That would be a lot of gold, wouldn't it? This is the Tri-State Sports Ramble. I am your host, John Coro. As you can see, I'm still trying to get used to this equipment, so let's see if that loads. All right. We're chilling. This is okay. All right. So thank you for tuning in this Friday evening. And so we're just going to kick it off a little bit with what's going on in the NFL. If you excuse me 1 second, I just got to load up my document. Computer's giving me a hard time, but that's all right. It's no big deal. We are ready to go. The first thing we got to talk about is with the New York Giants. Adam Bennett hired as the new athletic trainer. And just a big move there by the Giants. And so he was part of the Miami Hurricanes for the past couple of years, actually paved the way for 19 players to earn all conference honors in 2025. He was in the same position with FAU 4 years prior to that. And it's just another addition for Harbaugh just to keep these players healthy on and off the field. He also recently hired 6 more coaches, including Sam Rosengarten, who will serve as the director of high performance. Now, as I mentioned before, this doesn't mean that he's necessarily the new trainer of the team, but he will play a big role in any injuries that shall happen. Now, some big news that happened, not necessarily regarding the New York Jets, but really regarding the Miami Dolphins. As we know, Tyreek Hill has recently been released. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, so for everybody who's watching the stream right now, I'm actually Ryder does this thing where you have to like confirm with Microsoft through your phone, through the Microsoft Authenticator. And so if I'm ever looking at my phone to log in, don't worry, it's just for the TV screen. But with the release of Tyreek Hill, this is huge. 100%. This is big. And if you're the New York Jets, you make the decision. Do you want to go after him or do you want to just hold back on it? There's been quite a few rumors about this potentially being possible. And so it really just depends on what you want to do at that point if you're the Jets. Me personally, I think you should hold off on Tyreek for the moment just because for the situation where you're at. You're not necessarily in a position to spend. You're not in a playoff contention position. The last thing you need is, with all due respect, another cancer on your team. You don't need Tyreek Hill on your team to just cause locker room disturbance because he's been notorious for that for not just on the Miami Dolphins, but the KC Chiefs too. So that's the last thing you need in my book, or pretty much in the Jets book. A lot of people tend to agree that that may not be the move. But also, in addition to that, you need to have a reliable quarterback that can actually put the football in your arm and put it for a reach for you to make the catch or just go upfield. And Hill had Tua for one good season, maybe two, or really two, 2022, 23, and then, of course, 23 into 24. But that was it. Tua just kind of fell off a cliff after that. And, with Hill's season-ending injury, that just kind of did it. And ironically, looking at this past year, Tyreek's Hill injury not only came against the Jets, but it was actually when he was really starting to have the one game going. Because at that point, up to that point, he just wasn't doing it. Just wasn't hitting the spot for him. And so, yeah, it just wasn't quite doing the trick. We're going to take a look now at some news with the Philadelphia Eagles. And big one coming here. Offensive tackle Lane Johnson is coming back for a 14th season. One thing that for everybody who's doesn't know me personally, I used to play high school football only for 1 year. But one thing that I've been told from linemen is that they got to get respected. And you know what? That's right. Offensive linemen got to get respected because they're the ones that paved the way for you to try and get the job done, especially as a quarterback or a running back. You name it. That's just the case. It's just as simple as that. He's come back for a 14th season. Ever since he was drafted in 2013, he's been the leader of that right side of the offensive line. And last year, he came into last year being a two-time Super Bowl championship. Obviously, 2018, the Philly Special, Nick Foles clutch. And of course, the year prior to this, 2025, when the Eagles just obliterated the Kansas City Chiefs, really showed them that they weren't really necessarily meant to be there at the time. With all due respect, excuse me. And the way Hurts, out of these 8 games, like one of these were that Johnson missed in 2025, was the playoffs against the San Francisco 49ers. And the way Hurts played that game, it was very obvious that he was a huge factor that wasn't in that mix. And he was a player that might have impacted the game a lot. And this is why he's a very notable offensive tackle. Before Lane Johnson, it was Jason Kelce that everybody cared about on the line. Now Lane Johnson is really filling in that role. And, just looking at it, it's a tough go around for the Eagles just on where they're at in the position. And I said it last show and I'll say it again. 2025, the way they ended the regular season was very similar to 2023. Only difference is that they got a home game and then crumbled against the 49ers. You didn't have Lane Johnson. That's a huge, huge piece that you can't miss. But speaking of linemen, we're going to switch over to the defensive side. Philly's actually starting to draw a little bit of interest in Max Crosby, as we know, is defensive lineman on the Raiders. I don't know why I was debating. I thought Crosby was a receiver for a second. I was thinking, oh, he's putting up points on the board. I'll just stop on that. Well, just looking at Max Crosby, or looking at how the Eagles have gone about drafting defensive linemen, they already did check in on potentially swooping in to get Micah Parsons before the 2025-26 season. Obviously, Packers got to that first, but they did check on him. So point being, they want a new defensive lineman. They want a new one. It's pretty obvious what their hopes are. The fact that was their need after their Super Bowl win, trying to defend the title, now they're coming off a first-round defeat, you can bet that they want someone else. They want just really a new face. Simply just a new face, a new atmosphere. And I wouldn't have been surprised and Max Crosby, just for the record, Max Crosby has made it clear that he wants out of the Raiders. And I don't necessarily blame him on if he didn't say that, or as he did say that, because he may want out just to go to a competitive team. Because even though the Eagles had a disappointing finish last season, doesn't mean they're not a competitive team. They're really gonna get your money's worth, or really, they're not going to make it easy for you. A lot of the games the Eagles lost this year were not necessarily by blowouts. So they're a good team. They'll give you a run for your money. But also, I wouldn't have been surprised if Crosby wanted to stay with the Raiders, main reason for that is they're getting the number 1 draft pick. And who is that number 1, or they have a good chance to get the number 1 draft pick? Who's predicted or projected? Projected. Same thing, I guess. But number 1 projected pick would be Fernando Mendoza, of course, the quarterback of the Indiana Hoosiers, who just led probably their best season ever in college football history, ever. And Crosby would be a guy that if you wanted to stay, like, hey, we have a really good shot to get him, so why not just stay back? But I don't blame Crosby for saying he wanted out. Speaking of the defense for the Eagles, though, they recently hired their former Patriots cornerback coach, Mike Pellegrino, and he took part in 2 Patriots Super Bowl wins. You go back to 2017 against the Atlanta Falcons when they came all the way back down 28-3, and then that very boring game in 2019 when they defeated the LA Rams. That was a boring one. I was a lot younger, and I was a lot younger, a lot more energized, and I even fell asleep watching that one. It was not a fun game to watch, no doubt. Other news about the Eagles, though, there are a lot of rumors spiraling up as they have all season long, well, really all second half of the season long, regarding A.J. Brown. The trade rumors are spiraling up once again, and one team in particular that may have a good shot to get him are the Denver Broncos. And he could... You're looking at Brown, like hypothetically, if the Broncos did acquire A.J. Brown, you look at where he'll fit in the lineup. He'll make a really good pairing with Courtland Sutton, and he'll give Bo Nix a second target to look for. And obviously, Bo Nix's season ended just bittersweet. He led the Broncos to a huge win over the Buffalo Bills, but then tore his ACL, and then that was it. He was out for the remainder of the playoffs. I think personally, just on speaking on that, if Nix stays, Broncos make the Super Bowl. I think the Seahawks still win, but it would be Seahawks-Broncos, a rematch of 2016. Yeah, it was 2016. No, I got that wrong. It'd be a rematch of 2014. I was getting it confused last time they were at Levi because I was thinking Panthers-Broncos. But anyways, Knicks will be healthy by then, and the AFC is also expected to be a lot more competitive. And, other teams in the mix as of this week include the Patriots, Browns, Bills, and Ravens. One thing in common with all those, one thing in common. I had to make sure the Browns were an AFC team for a moment. Who knows? But, that's the one thing in common. They're all AFC teams, and it just coincides with what I just said about how the AFC is expected to be a lot more competitive. Just a little bit more minor news now for the Eagles. We'll see where A.J. Brown goes. I have a huge feeling that he's definitely not going to be an Eagle next year. Just kind of, he's created a lot of tension in the locker room, and the Eagles haven't necessarily played well with him. Brown didn't play well at all in that playoff game against the Niners, but that's for a different day. We'll see where A.J. Brown goes from there. Phillies, though, I'm getting ahead of myself. Spring training did start today for the MLB, so I'm all baseball today, but we got to slow it down. Easy. I'm up here. We got to take it down a little bit. But just a little more minor news for the Eagles. They're actually changing their practice facility name to the Jefferson Health Trading Complex, so it will no longer be the NovaCare Complex. It has been for 25 years, but it will not be. I apologize for anybody that maybe previously liked the name NovaCare Complex, but that is a different story. Now we're going to talk about the NBA. We're a quick little football segment, and we got about 5 minutes till our first commercial break, so touch base a little bit on the NBA. It's All-Star Weekend. Well, last weekend was All-Star Weekend, and my mistake. And just kind of picking the pocket of where everybody went. VJ Edgecombe won the Rising Stars MVP game, and for everybody that is new to basketball, it just basically showcases the top rookies, sophomores, and G League players, and of course, Edgecombe is a rookie this year. Actually did pretty well during the summer league that led up to this NBA season, and just, yeah, it was pretty cool to see the actual games that took place on Sunday. Team Vince Carter defeating Team Carmelo Anthony, and that was the Rising Stars game part of me, and Edgecombe was a part of course, Vince Carter's team. Now, there is one thing I did want to nitpick on a little bit with NBA All-Star Weekend, and that was the slam dunk contest. Let's be real. The slam dunk contest has been nowhere near how electric it was when you had the days of Shaquille O'Neal and you had players that really drove the paint, made the dunks exciting. This was a disappointing slam dunk contest. It really was. And yeah, it was just disappointing to say the least. And really, I feel that I wasn't quite alone on that because a lot of people were also nitpicking it and also diving into why it should be improved, actually coming up with their own respective theories. And so it's just it's a little bit different when you look at that. 1 second. All right. But it's a little more different when you look at that. Yeah, it's just, I think personally that's my little spiel on the NBA Slam Dunk Contest. I truly think that there should be a lot more stepping stones to it, a lot more obstacles, I don't know, just something. So that's my little take on the NBA Slam Dunk Contest. I feel that it's lost its touch personally, but other people got their own opinions. We'll see going forward. Now, we have to dive a little bit into some news that concerns both the Knicks and the New York Rangers, actually. MSG Networks are starting to consider splitting the Rangers and Knicks into two separate companies, even though they both play under the same roof, in the same place, right outside of New York Penn Station. They want to try and split it. I can understand. I don't know what goes on behind closed doors there. There's probably something to do with budget cuts or trying to meet a certain demand. But if you had the option to do it or not do it, and it didn't really have a huge effect, I'd say don't do it. Keep MSG Networks the way it is. I mean, Knicks Rangers, they quite literally play in Madison Square Garden. And they're both huge original teams. I would keep it. Me personally, I would just keep it the way it is. I understand why they want to get into talks about it because it has been a tradition for quite some time, and the NBA has been known for keeping up with new trends and not really sticking with tradition. They're actually talking about Commissioner Adam Silver was actually talking about the other day about a anti-tanking draft rule. I don't quite know the details about it yet, but it's basically just on the surface, just to prevent NBA teams from quote-unquote tanking or trying to play bad or get a worse record to get a higher draft pick. That the NHL kind of solved that problem already because they got the draft lottery, but other leagues like the NBA, NFL, MLB, they might want to change it up a little bit. Now, the NBA, like I said, they keep up with new trends. I wouldn't be surprised if they do go on and change it, but you don't want to change the game too much and just want to keep it the way it is. So I can understand why it goes either way and what they want to do. We'll dive more into NBA news and scores when we come right back. Mark your calendars because 107.7 The Bronx Excellent Egg Hunt is on its way. Join us on the Campus Mall on Tuesday, March 31st at 11 a.m. to experience the event the Bronx won Best Giveaway for at the 2025 IBS Media Awards. Do not forget, there are 10,000 eggs, 20,000 pieces of candy, and a chance to win so many cool prizes, including our biggest and most iconic prize, a 3 or 4 night Royal Caribbean cruise for 2 to the Bahamas, provided by Josh Harry Travel. For more details, including a list of other activities and bites to eat, go to 1077thebronx.com/egg hunt. We'll be back with more of the Tri-State Sports Ramble after these underwriting announcements on the Princeton Review's number 18 ranked best college radio station, 107.7 The Bronx.
Oh, it's so hot. I'm so hungry. I could really go for a sandwich. Ow, my head! Build the ultimate Bronquich? Rider University's new signature sandwich? Yeah, I could go for that. Wait, We have to make it? We have to make it and name it?
Yeah.
Who are you? How did you find me?
You're crawling around on the beach, dude. You've been here for like 2 hours max. Whatever. All you have to do is enter a sandwich recipe and make an Instagram reel to tell us why you believe you created the ultimate Bronkwitch.
That sounds like too much work. What's even the point?
If you get first place, the prize is a Royal Caribbean cruise for 2 to the Bahamas, courtesy of Josh Harry Travel, the Yo-Cuz food truck at your next on-campus event for 1 hour, and of course, your sandwich served at Muller's Pub and at the Yo-Cuz food trailer's catered events.
I could use a cruise.
Couldn't we all? But you could be in the running for the 3 finalists who compete on April 28th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. But I'm getting ahead of myself. You have from now to April 5th to enter. For all the other information, go to 1077thebronx.com/buildabronkwitch and maybe you could win it.
Do you wake up and feel like your mornings are just missing something? Certainly nothing worse than your coffee just not hitting the same. But there has to be something, right?
Yeah, baby! Yeah, there is! Weekdays, you won't even need coffee. You'll be running on life's purest energy, all thanks to the crew at Wake Up Rider. Your favorite IBS award-winning college morning show is on every Monday through Friday from 8 to 10 a.m. Not convinced? Let me help you out. You like music? Obviously you do. Bam! You like games? Of course you do. You like fun people? Duh. If you answered no to any of these questions, what are you, the fun police? And they have plenty more to offer. Wake Up Rider brings you season 9 of their usual antics, and what better way to start your morning than joining them? Unfortunately, winter break has come to an end, but if you need to keep yourself occupied, go to 1077thebronx.com and listen to all of their former episodes to give your days that pizzazz. And I'll cut you a deal. I won't even judge you if it's not morning when you listen. Just make sure you're listening to Wake Up Rider on 1077 The Bronx the second that clock strikes 8 a.m. on weekdays. So set your alarm.
The invisible intruder, naturally occurring radon gas. This odorless and tasteless gas enters homes through cracks, gaps around pipes, sump pits, or even your well water, and is the second leading cause of lung cancer in the United States. You could be at risk. Act now, don't wait. The New Jersey DEP's radon section has your back, with free resources and expert advice to keep your home radon-free. Visit radon.nj.gov for details on testing and radon mitigation solutions. Sponsored by the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection.
Programming on 1077 The Bronx is underwritten in part by RUGC, Rider University's Greek Council. Looking for more community opportunities on campus? The Greek Council wants you. Recruitment for all councils here at Rider are looking for leaders to strengthen brotherhood and sisterhood through community service, campus activities, and student engagement. Whether you're thinking about joining a social organization with the fraternities of the Interfraternal Council, or the sororities, a part of the National Panhellenic Conference, or joining a culturally based organization within the National Panhellenic Council and Multicultural Greek Council, learn more about the benefits of Greek life through hosted events. General recruitment for bid days begins end of February and early March, with events taking place over the course of 3 weeks. This is the perfect opportunity to find your landing in a fraternity or sorority that's right for you. Make friends, connections, and see what Greek life has to offer for you to enhance your Rider experience. Follow Rider Greek Life on Instagram for important deadlines or any questions about the recruitment process.
Rider University's 1077 The Bronx is underwritten in part by Capital Health. When it comes to your health, the world is swirling with information and unfortunately misinformation. COVID-19, cancer, heart disease, vaccinations, masks, childhood development, healthy eating, dieting, and exercising fads. What's the best way to evaluate and separate the truth from all of the myths being floated out there? The answer is Health 411, presented by Capital Health. Every Sunday morning at 10 a.m., Dr. Jonathan Karp and his special guests provide truthful health information to expand your knowledge and perspective. From preventative medicinal techniques to personal diet and exercise, Health 411 features candid health that will not only empower you, but inspire you as well. Turn misinformation into helpful information regarding your family's health. Don't miss Health 411 with our doctor, Jonathan Karp, and the medical staff of Capital Health. Health 411 is underwritten by Capital Health, Minds Advancing Medicine. Capital Health is the region's leader in providing progressive quality patient care with exceptional physicians, nurses, and staff, as well as advanced technology.
College certainly has its ups and downs. One day you can be living your best life, and the next you can be deep within your own thoughts, darkening your world. Mental health is something that needs to be given light to escape the darkness. Attitudes in Reverse, aka AIR, is a non-profit organization that works every day to remind us no one chooses to have a mental health disorder. Kenny Baker, a 19-year-old high school senior who was diagnosed with depression and a severe anxiety disorder, tragically took his life in May 2009. Today, the Baker family is keeping Kenny's memory alive by giving students and their families hope. AIR provides extensive mental health awareness and suicide prevention programs to youth and young adults, regardless of ability to pay. AIR offers services to remind students there are people in their orbit, perhaps friends, family members, or classmates who also live with a mental health disorder. Listen, mental health illness is a real illness. Like AIR, just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not there. Go to http://air.ngo to learn more about how Attitudes in Reverse can help take you out of your personal darkness and into the light.
The Bronx Lunchbox on 107.7 The Bronx and other programming on 107.7 The Bronx. Retro is underwritten by Osteria Procaccini in Pennington and Crosswicks. Osteria Procaccini takes your taste buds on a roller coaster. Step inside Osteria Procaccini to experience a loving and sustainable restaurant. Try their refreshing, jam-packed, flavorful salads, or take a nice long look at their artisan pizza menu. Each artisan pizza is made with vegan dough and is paired with a crust that is charred to perfection to replicate a true and authentic crunch. Osteria is more than artisan pizzas. It's an exceptional dining experience. Their fire-roasted entrees are to die for, roasted in a 900-degree Pompeii-style terracotta brick hearth. Choose from a classic chicken parmesan, an Osteria burger, eggplant parmesan, and more. Outside of their grand assortment of lunch and dinner options, Osteria Procaccini offers a coffee bar. Grab an Americano, a latte, espresso, or any of their other coffee options after dinner. Visit one of their 2 locations in Pennington and Crosswicks, or see what they have in store for your palate online at getforky.com.
107.7 The Bronx has very exciting news. Our new video stream is officially live. Now, you can listen to The Bronx on air, online, and on app now, watching your favorite student shows live on the Bronx YouTube channel and Facebook at 107.7 The Bronx, including Bronx After Hours, the Tri-State Sports Ramble, as many of you are doing right now, High Stakes, The Journey Across the Sports World, and Cliff Notes. Coming soon, Wake Up Rider starts streaming on Monday, February 23rd. Keep it tuned to The Bronx to listen to and also watch your favorite student shows now and in the future. Welcome back to the Tri-State Sports Ramble on your 5-time National Association of Broadcasters Marconi Radio Award nominated station, 107.7 The Bronx. Ready to dive into our next segment. Oh, by the way, my name is John Coro. I'm just going to put that little name tag there. There we go. Now we're talking. So before we go into it, I noticed that on YouTube, it may not be the title of my show. I forgot to change it a little bit. The title is called, I forgot to change the title for the live stream. It may read A Random After Party. Big shout out to Marcus, who was live streaming before me. But don't worry, that I'm not changing my name. It is still the Tri-State Sports Ramble. Everything will be okay, everybody. So we're going to dive a little bit into some NBA news. Joel Embiid continues to stay injured with a soreness in his right shin over the All-Star break. He actually participated in right knee management over the break, but it didn't matter. And, you know, he's only played 31 games this season, and he's averaging about 26.6 points per game, and he's been an injury-riddled player ever since he came to the NBA, really. He's been very injury-prone, and, like, Embiid's a player that has a lot of potential to really skyrocket, really take things to the next level, but he just keeps getting injured, and it's just it's unfortunate because sometimes you can't control it. Obviously, injuries happen, but just tough to see. And, you know, Embiid, when he does play and is healthy and is back in his element, as we would say, he just is unstoppable at times. And then the games that he doesn't perform well and he actually takes a little bit to wind things up are usually the games right after he gets injured or coming back too soon after he gets injured. However you want to put it, that's been the case. Just for other news, 76ers, Cameron Payne is coming back from overseas. He was originally playing in Serbia and reportedly agreed to a buyout to come back to the States. During his time in Serbia, played decently, averaging about 12.4 points per game during his time there. He was with the Knicks last year, but then he got waived. That's the reason why he went overseas in the first place. At the time, New York was trying to upgrade their veteran player, Jordan Clarkson, and develop their young prospect, Landry Shamet, who's having himself a pretty good season right now in MSG in New York City, which is where we are heading tomorrow for the IBS Media Awards. But regardless, back to the Tri-State Sports Ramble, it just won't I feel personally Cameron Payne will not solve all the issues for the 76ers, but it will make for a solid guard option in case you do have a player go down like Embiid and you do have consistent injuries. You'll have someone like Payne who's at least got experience, to say the least. Quick notable move here by the Knicks. TJ Warren going to the NBA G League team, which is located in Westchester. And for Warren, may not be a player that people have heard for quite some time, but in 2020, during the bubble playoffs at Walt Disney World, weird times, I know, he was absolutely dominant. He averaged 26.2 points per game with Indiana. Like I said, it's not too notable of a move, but he can be if injuries keep piling up. So in a way, the Knicks and 76ers are kind of hand in hand in their situation. Only difference is that the Knicks are playing better basketball and have a better team structure, unlike the 76ers. So we'll dive into the games real quick. Now, speaking of the structures, none of our Tri-State teams were able to come out with a victory yesterday. All three of them played, all three of them lost. Let's start off with one that really isn't shocking, the Brooklyn Nets. 15-39, 13th in the Eastern. Yeah, going into that, you kind of knew it was going to happen. I'm just kidding. Brooklyn Nets, they can pull wins out. Like, you'd be surprised how much they can pull wins out this year. I said about it last show, how they minimize mistakes. They can be a very good young team that'll really work toward their rebuilding. But regardless, that didn't show last night because they were at Cleveland and lost 112-84. The Cavaliers extend their winning streak to 6 games. And I keep mentioning, this time it was, it's funny, last week I was mentioning how they weren't able to shut the door. They didn't even have time to do that. Why? Because they couldn't get the engine started. They were shut out early, losing by 18 at the end of the first quarter. And, of course, the former Net himself, James Harden, with 16 points on the night. Honestly, better pickup than I thought for the Cleveland Cavaliers. I'll be completely honest. And the Cavaliers actually held their largest lead of the year late in the third quarter, a whopping 43 points. Yes, you heard that right, 43 points. And unsurprisingly, they took out their starters for the fourth quarter. Cleveland stays at 4th in the Eastern Conference, right behind the New York Knicks, who are in 3rd. Celtics are 2nd, and of course, Detroit is in 1st. Going into this game, Nets did not have Nick Claxton. He missed the final game before the All-Star break with a right hip soreness. But once he recovered, unfortunately, he rolled his right ankle at practice the day prior and just couldn't make the game. Just a little unfortunate. You get right back in the swing and then just that. Right now, the Brooklyn Nets are currently playing the defending champion Oklahoma City Thunder. Let's check out what this score is. I did not get a chance to look at it beforehand. How about this? The Nets are winning against the defending champs. 23-17, $1:52 to go in the first quarter. Will they keep the lead? We'll see. We'll see if they keep the lead throughout the rest of the game. That is cool. We have a chance to lead against the defending champs. It's like an honor when the Nets are playing this bad of basketball, but it is what it is. So diving into the other side of New York, a more competitive kind of basketball, we got the New York Knicks. I already mentioned they're 3rd in the Eastern. They sit at 35-21 with their most recent loss to the Detroit Pistons last night, 126-111 at home inside Madison Square Garden. How about a 42-point night for Cade Cunningham to lead the charge? Pistons, with the win, were able to sweep the season series, winning all 3 games. It was tightly paced. Only time Detroit gained a little bit of separation was toward the end of the first half, and Brunson was back on his game, though, with a 30-point night. Knicks came out of the locker room to bring it closer, but Detroit wiped it away on some 3-pointers to gain it back. OG Anunoby came back from injury. Wasn't quite surprised that he wasn't able to turn it up a notch right off the get-go. Just only 8 points on the night. Pistons this year, they just own the Knicks, but I think personally they will be fine. Earlier this morning, Stephen A. Smith on ESPN was really ranting on the Knicks, how they are not going to be in the finals. I think they could still make it. They just have to solve the Rubik's Cube of Detroit or pray that Detroit gets eliminated in the first round because they don't seem to have a problem with any other team. What should be concerning, though, is that the Pistons not only did this at home, as I mentioned, but they did it without their second leading scorer, Jalen Duren. apologize for the squeakiness of this chair. I'm not sure if that's picking up in the feed, but yeah, if it is moving a little bit, don't mind that. Regardless, the Knicks play the Rockets tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So they're going to play 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time at MSG. That'll be interesting. Normally, if it was during the weekday, you had an 8:30 game in that time zone, I wouldn't necessarily be too happy about it, especially if you had to go to work the next day, had to go to school. But it's a weekend, so why not test it out? Moving on to the 76ers. They are 6th place in the Eastern, 30-25 on the year, and they lost 117-107. This was very similar to the Knicks game. There was very little room for both sides to break through. Sixers did trail by 11 in the fourth and then pulled it 2-4 with under 3 minutes left. But from that point, Atlanta went on a 9-3 run to close it out, with 5 of those points coming from Jalen Johnson, who had 32 on the evening. So that's a big factor for why the Hawks were able to get the victory. Despite the loss for Philly, Maxey had a good game, and VJ Edgecombe, our rising star MVP, as mentioned, didn't do too shabby himself. Got 20 points on the dot. Third time Philly has lost to Atlanta this year, but I will mention they have all been very close matchups that could have easily went either way. They lost in double overtime in November and just by 3 points in December. Tying back to Embiid, however, the 76ers overall have lost 7 of their last 8 games that he doesn't play in. So just goes to show you how much he means to the team. Sixers got a demanding road trip coming up. They're at the Pelicans tomorrow at 7 and at Minnesota Sunday at 7 p.m. as well. Back-to-back night games on the road, going from north to south. Well, you're going from south back up north in just a matter of days, basically. So that's kind of it with the NBA. We're going to move on a little bit to the MLB. As mentioned, spring training started today, which means the World Baseball Classic is a little closer on March 5th. That's when it starts, and which also means that opening day is March 25th. It's right there. Baseball is ready to come back. Obviously, the weather doesn't get obviously, the weather isn't feeling the vibe right now. It's still cold. There's a chance of snow here in Lawrenceville, New Jersey over the weekend. They don't want baseball, but I do. So just talk about spring training a little bit. Yankees took on the Orioles today in their first spring training game of the season in Sarasota. They lost 2-0. One notable, well, really the only notable part of the game, Pete Alonso hitting his first home run in an Orioles uniform. It actually came in the 6th inning to drive in 2 and break the scoreless drought. Like I said, nothing really else happened that game. It was just a lot of switching, substitutions on both sides, really just for the minor leaguers to get some reps. Unfortunately, that game was not televised. Neither will be the Phillies and Blue Jays game at 107. Technically, they are televised, but just not in this particular area. One that will be, though, is the Mets taking on the Marlins tomorrow at 1:10 p.m. because Mets are technically home in Florida. So that's that. Moving on to some news around the MLB. There's a little bit of just debating on Jason Dominguez on how he should not make the opening day roster or if he should. I talked about this last week, so I'll make it quick. I think give him one more shot. Give him one more shot. Volpe, I've seen enough. Bring him down to the minors. But Dominguez, give him one more shot. And recently for the Mets, Steve Cohen was actually sitting down for an interview with legendary broadcaster Howie Rose. And he was very optimistic about the Mets. He actually described it as a roller coaster offseason. Well, that's to say the least. And he felt surprised by Edwin Diaz leaving, but feels good about Devin Williams. I really hope Devin Williams pans out just because he said that. But the players that he did bring in, and he does make a good point here, were all playoff gamers. You mentioned Bo Bichette, who was in the World Series last year, Freddie Peralta from the Brewers, Marcus Semien, and Jorge Polanco. He's always wanted a combination of veterans and upcoming prospects, so this is kind of, I guess, in essence, his dream team. And another interesting thing that he commented on was that there will never be a team captain as long as he's the owner of the Mets. And the last one that New York had until that point was David Wright. Not to mention he just agrees with that, or the reason why he says that is just teams different every year. He wants them to figure it out a little bit, which I can't necessarily say I blame him. All teams got to figure it out one way or another. After all, only 2 teams got captains in the MLB. Aaron Judge, of course, for the Yankees, and Salvador Perez for the Royals. Just interesting. Speaking of the Yankees, I see the lights with Volpe going down to the minors. The Yankees want Ryan McMahon to learn shortstop. I repeat, they want McMahon to learn shortstop. This idea could be for a backup if needed. That's pointing right at Volpe, everybody. And Volpe will not be available for opening day because of his injury, but you'll likely see Jose Caballero on the roster to at least take over for the time being. McMahon did make the 2024 All-Star game for the Rockies and was one of the top bats during the rebuild, but really, besides the walk-off he had in his first week and the unbelievable catch he made in the dugout in the wildcard game against the Red Sox, he kind of struggled, personally. All signs are pointing at McMahon, though, to replace Volpe. Now, this time, though, if Volpe does come back from injury, which he will eventually, I'm not going to go too hard on him if he starts struggling a little bit. And the reason why I say that is just because it's just you need time to recover back from injury. And so another thing with the New York Mets, we'll talk about it real quick before we go to commercial. Mike Tauchman recently signed to a minor league deal, and 756 OPS during his 93 games with the Chicago White Sox. If, for all Yankees fans listening, Tauchman should sound like a very familiar name because his best year was 2019 when he got the most reps with 13 home runs. That Yankees roster in 2019 was something else. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen, as a Yankee fan, anyone or any team that injured and back and then some than they were that year. Yeah, Cameron Maben starting in right field. Gio Urshela, your starting third baseman. It was funny. And that was the one year you had the legendary Mike Ford at first base. Didi was still on the team. And then DJ LeMahieu didn't do bad. He actually hit the ball pretty well. But regardless, for Tauchman, in terms of the Mets minor league prospects, he does become an obstacle for their number 2 prospect, Carson Bench, to make the roster because he struggled during his 24 games in AA in Binghamton. By the way, a huge shout out to Binghamton's rivalry, the AA Somerset Patriots, in my hometown, or at least near my hometown. Look at that zoom. Regardless, Tauchman, I'm talking about the camera for everybody listening, but regardless, Tauchman is a backup plan in case Benj doesn't plan out. We touched on it a little bit last week about Nick Castellanos potentially getting released. Now it happened officially that he's heading over to San Diego. We will get into a little bit further detail on it, but we will have to take a quick step aside for just a quick moment. Quick step aside, quick moment, tomato. If you build it, our Rider Bronx will devour it. Introducing the contest that will cement your legacy at Rider University forever. Announcing 1077 The Bronx first ever Build the Ultimate Bronkwich competition. Be the Bronc who creates Rider's new signature sandwich to be served at Muller's Pub and on the Yo Cuz Yellow Food Trailer, and we'll send you, am I reading that correctly? And we'll send you and a guest on a Royal Caribbean for 2 to the Bahamas from Josh Harry Travel. However you slice it, this contest eats Bronx. So go to 1077thebronc.com to build the Bronkwich for complete details and how you can enter to win. We'll be back with more of the Tri-State Sports Ramble after these underwriting announcements on your 8-time 2026 IBS Media Award nominated station, 1077 The Bronx.
Wonder where 1077 The Bronx can take you? On Alumni in Action, Owen McCarron and Owen Nelson sit down with Rider graduates who've turned their college experience into something bigger. Leaders in media, content creators, industry changemakers. We talk about the moments at 1077 The Bronx that shaped them, the risks they took in their careers, and what they learned back then that made them the media professionals they are today. These are honest, inspiring conversations with people who once spoke in the same mics you do today. From Cranberries to Kroner, Rider Rock to the commencement stage, there's a new episode the first Sunday of every month with encore episodes weekly at 8 a.m. Or watch the videos on our website at 1077thebronx.com/alumni in action. Tune in to hear how Rider alumni are making their mark with new episodes every Sunday at 8 a.m. One story at a time. This is Alumni in Action.
This is your Rider News Roundup. This is your Rider News Roundup.
And this is your Rider News Roundup. On Saturdays at 11 a.m., you can get the views behind the news from the pages of the Rider News. The Rider News and 107.7 The Bronx present the Rider News Roundup, the podcast. Hosted by Caroline Havland, Grace Bertrand, and Ben Chenault, the Rider News Roundup, the podcast, is your weekly window into the Rider world. New episodes of the Rider News Roundup, the podcast, debut the second and fourth Saturday of every month at 11 a.m. Know what's going on and how everything at Rider affects you. Be on the lookout for new episodes twice a month. Make sure to get your news from the Rider News online at theridernews.com. And tune in to the Rider News Roundup, the podcast, Saturdays at 11 a.m. on 107.7 The Bronx. Go to 107.7thebronx.com/Rider News Roundup to learn more information.
Mental Fitness on 107.7 The Bronx is underwritten in part by LADA, the Lawrence Alcohol and Drug Alliance. Help your local community thrive drug and alcohol-free with LADA, a nonprofit organization designed to educate, aid, and bring awareness to prevent the use of dangerous substances. Whether it's your children, a friend, a loved one, or a neighbor, LADA has qualified leaders to help anyone and everyone feel like themselves. LADA's mission provides you and all of your community members with the necessary resources, training, and education through a variety of programs to prevent the misuse of drugs and alcohol in the town we proudly call home. The Lawrenceville Drug and Alcohol Alliance also provides peer leadership groups for both Lawrence High School and Rider University students, and hosts community events for area residents to enjoy and learn more about the negative impacts drugs and alcohol can have on you and your well-being. For more information on how you can get involved, LADA's mission statement, their many resources, and a calendar of events and meetings, visit lawrencetwp.com/Alcohol Drug Alliance. Health 411 on 107.7 The Bronx is underwritten by Capital Health. Do you have a cough or cold that won't go away? Capital Health Virtual Care can help you manage common health issues from the comfort of your dorm, home, or on the go. Available 7 days a week to individuals ages 16 and older in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, Capital Health Virtual Care offers video visits with local doctors, nurse practitioners, physician assistants, and other qualified healthcare professionals to address a wide range of general health conditions. A video visit through a secure connection on your mobile device saves you a trip to the office and allows you to meet with the same experienced clinicians who see patients at Capital Health's primary care network locations throughout the greater Mercer, Burlington, and Bucks County region. Whether it's flu symptoms, allergies, reactions to a bug bite, or other common conditions, Capital Health Virtual Care is ready to help. To be eligible for a video visit appointment, mania during the time of your appointment. To learn more or to request an appointment online, it's capitalvirtualcare.org. That's capitalvirtualcare.org.
107.7 The Bronx campus traditions are underwritten in part by Rider Dining Services.
We are beginning our descent into daily dining hall. Expect some turbulence as we land at Rider University's most delicious campus destination, filled with never-before-seen meals and exciting deals. If you haven't heard, Daily Dining is serving up special offers this semester designed to take your taste buds around the globe. No plane ticket required. Grab your passport and visit the world with flavor right at Daly's. Each visit guarantees a new culinary experience. Collect all the stamps by the end of the semester and enter a chance to win a $100 gift card. Don't believe me? Go to the Big Shop located in the dining hall to get your passport stamped and start your journey. Try diverse flavors from around the globe, including France, China, Nigeria, and more destinations still to come. Explore what the world has to offer one flavor at a time. You can find more delicious events like these through the Dine on Campus app or by following Rider Dining on Instagram at Rider_Eats.
Programming on 107.7 The Bronx is underwritten in part by Lawrenceville Sandwich Company, Main Street, Lawrence.
Nothing starts my day like a stop at the Lawrenceville Sandwich Company. I think I'll have my favorite today, the H2 with grilled chicken and avocado.
But Sarah, it's breakfast.
That's the beauty of the Lawrenceville Sandwich Company. I can order lunch for breakfast and my fave breakfast Sammys at lunch because their entire menu is available all day, every day. The possibilities are endless.
I know what you mean. I always get the second Ave sandwich every time I come. It's packed with bacon, pork roll, eggs, cheese, and hash browns. With a glass of orange juice on the side, it's the perfect combo.
That sounds amazing. I think I'm gonna also order the Madison to go and have a little pork sausage and scrambled eggs for dinner.
It's so convenient if you're in a rush. You can order ahead by phone or online at lsc2023.com for pickup or to dine in.
I love that Rider students, faculty, and staff get a 10% discount every purchase at the Lawrenceville Sandwich Company. And with my Rider ID, it's less expensive than my meal plan.
The best is when I grab breakfast or lunch while studying using the free Wi-Fi.
Whether it's breakfast, lunch, or a quick snack, the Lawrenceville Sandwich Company has you covered.
There is so much happening this spring at 107.7 The Bronx, which means there is a lot of behind-the-scenes content to be seen. So many scenes there, my goodness. Funny reels, station highlights, sponsor trips, and exclusive moments are just a few of the reasons why you should engage with The Bronx on social media. Keep up with The Bronx by following us on Instagram and Threads at 107.7 The Bronx, on TikTok at 107.7 The Bronx WRRC, and even on Facebook at 107.7 The Bronx to see what we're up to on and off the air. Welcome back to the Tri-State Sports Ramble on your 5-time NAB Marconi Radio Award nominated and IBS Award winning college radio station 107.7 The Bronx. I'm your host, John Cora. We're back one more time. Picking up where we left off with Nick Castellanos. The recently released Nick Castellanos got traded to the San Diego Padres. He'll actually get paid the major league minimum of $780K. Philly saved just over $1.6 million because of it. He expressed interest in playing first base and plans to do so with the Padres, along with the regular outfield if need be. He's got an .853 OPS against left-handed pitching, and after all, it is better than Gavin Sheets, who is the left-handed first baseman for the Padres, started in the playoffs, started majority of the regular season, really had his breakout year last year, so it'll be competition for it. Castellanos will probably not be an everyday player on the Padres roster, but he could be a huge replacement for Fernando Tatis, because knowing his injury history, I love the rhymes. It's highly a possibility that Tatis could get back on the IL. We're going to move a little bit on to some hockey. Real quick on the Devils, Luke Hughes is back practicing, but he will not return for the first game after the Olympics. His earliest time is February 28th. The reason before that is because of the day he got hurt, January 19th. He got placed on long-term injury reserve, which means that he has to miss 10 games and 24 days. And due to the Olympic break, it does not count for those 24 days. You'd be beating the system like that. So he'll be coming back, their third game back, not the first, February 28th, which is next Saturday. I want to talk a little bit about the Olympics, man. First of all, huge shout out to one of the best broadcasters to ever do it, Kenny Albert. He had incredible calls for all the games that have happened, and particularly the one that I'm about to talk about right now. Team USA with a 2-1 win in overtime to defeat Canada and take home the gold yesterday. Women's hockey getting it done. And what a game it was. They were down 1-0 late in the third. Hillary Knight with an unbelievable tip-in deflection to tie it up. And then Megan Keller with quite possibly the goal of the year already. We're only in February. But she made a windmill deke, went to the backhand, snuck it by the goaltender to win it. And leading up to the tournament, they previously shut out Italy 6-0 in the quarterfinals and Sweden 5-0 in the semi. So that one goal that they allowed to Canada, which came in the second period, so it took them some time to do so, was the only goal that they allowed all tournament, excluding the preliminary rounds. But what huge, that was great to see the ladies get it done. Just awesome to watch them thrive in that category. And earlier today, we had the semifinals for men's hockey, and what a day it was. Canada defeating Finland 3-2 to move on to the gold round. Their backs were against the wall in the second period. Up to that point, they gave up a power play and shorthanded goal, but Sam Reinhart was able to get them on the board. Midway through about the third, their defenseman Shea Theodore would end up tying things up, but then with 36 seconds remaining in regulation on the power play, Nate Dogg himself, Nathan McKinnon, with the one-timer, able to beat Juuso Saro's short side and get the win, stunning Finland. And as for Finland, they're moving on to the bronze round, which will take place tomorrow. I'll get into more detail about the upcoming games, but what a great game for Team Canada. They'll have a lot of momentum going into this final game, but who knows if they will have most momentum or if Team USA will have the most momentum, because newsflash, Team USA got a big 6-2 win over Slovakia earlier today as well. A couple of goals were made to start it out in the first period. No surprise there because of all of the hot starts that they have been making this year, or this tournament, I should say, rather. Things would turn up a notch in the second, though, because you got Jack Hughes and Jack Eichel, the two Jacks, scoring just 19 seconds apart, making quick work, already a 4-0 lead, and then Hughes added salt to the wound with another goal. USA would lead 5-0 going into the second intermission. Now, this is very ironic that it had to be Jack Hughes specifically who scored twice. The reason why I say that is because for anybody who follows me on Instagram, I was complimenting Quinn Hughes scoring the overtime winner against Sweden to get USA to the semifinals. And I said in the caption, Quinn is better than Luke and Jack. Now, I don't know Jack Hughes personally, but something told me that he went to my Instagram, looked at the story and said, all right, John, I'll show you. And he showed out all right. 2 goals and a 5-0 lead going into the third. Of course, Brady Tkachuk had to get in on the action in the third to seal the deal for a 6-2 victory. Slovakia will be heading to the bronze game. We are almost up with our time, so we'll take the rest of our segment and talk about the upcoming games that are set to get underway. The bronze game will be tomorrow at 2:40 p.m., Finland against Slovakia. So, as a reminder for the tournament, the losers of the semifinals still get to play for a bronze title. So, I think that's pretty nice. That's pretty chill. Finland versus Slovakia tomorrow at 2:40 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, are you a fan of Team USA? Are you a fan of Team Canada? Or are you a fan of being an early bird, or just an early bird in general? Because if you match all 3 or 2 of the 3, as long as you're the early bird, then Sunday would be your lucky day, because 8:10 a.m. is the start Eastern Time for the gold medal game. It's a rematch of Women's Hockey Olympics and the Four Nations final back in the States, which actually was a year ago today. So this time of year will certainly remind the United States of that defeat, and they will be absolutely hungry, to say the least. Certainly looking forward to that. I wish I could talk more about it, but unfortunately our time is up. Thank you for listening to the Tri-State Sports Ramble. We'll be back next Friday, February 27th from 8 to 9 p.m. Stay tuned for more of the biggest hits and best variety on the Princeton Review's number 18 Best College Radio Station, 8-time 2026 nominee of an IBS Media Award, and 5-time National Association of Broadcasters Marconi Radio Award nominee for College Radio Station of the Year, 107.7 The Bronc and 107.7thebronc.com.
107.7 The Bronc, WRRC-FM, Lawrenceville, New Jersey. No.